Hello. Yes, I had some issues with the internet and Wi-Fi thing, so I could not connect. I see one other person joined here. Um, so I'm not sure. Let's wait a few more minutes to for people to join, so that we can start. I'm sure I had some issues with my Wi-Fi and stuff, so I could not start early. All right, I think somebody joined. Can you chat there? We're just waiting for some more people to join. I had issues with my internet and Wi-Fi and stuff, and I could not connect. I'm sorry. This is a good platform until I get some other new one with where I can get more volunteers and stuff like that. So, but let's wait for a few more minutes to see if other people join. And, can you say something here? I think another person has joined. I don't know who it is, but in this chat live. Hello. Let's wait for a few minutes and then we'll start. Yeah, I did some analysis on this, the videos and stuff that the channel itself, and I was really humbled by the response that the viewers are giving me, and the inputs that I'm getting from all the viewers too. And it's a lot of people because there's a weekend in US as well as it was a festival. Um, actually, it's a Tamil festival which I was told by some of my friends in United Arab Emirates. That's called Thai Pusam, if I'm not mistaken. Let me just open up that. Wish all my Tamil friends an enjoyable and happy Thai Pusam, Puyam, and festival celebrated by mainly Tamilians and Keralites. So it's called Thai Pusam and Thai Puyam. And so it's celebrated as the birthday of Lord Kartikeya, Murugan, and Subramanya as well, as the day on which he was given the veil, that's the spear, by his mother goddess Parvati to fight the demons. Uh, and this was sent by I think, Govindarajan, my friend circle. Um, all right, I think we'll wait for some more time, otherwise we'll just start off now. So a lot of people are not able to join, but they do look at the videos, and I'm getting really good feedback, and I did the data analysis on this. So let's start now. It's already 6:40. All right, let's do it for prayers, and let's prayers is usually I start off with the Shanti mantra of Nasadiya Suktam, and it goes like this. ॐ वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्म एधि वेदस्य माणीस्तः श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासीः अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारम अवतु वक्तारम ओम शांति शांति शांति. Okay, so Nasadiya Suktam is riddle from the Rig Veda. It talks about the mystery of creation, and it has a lot of good pointers to the knowledge that you have gained um, in the Rig Veda and also the Upanishads. So actually, the Vedas are all one body of knowledge, which was given over to mankind in the reverberation of the universe. So today's topic is really interesting. It talks about the speech aspect of the human being, and how spirituality and the speech uh, that we all have is we how to communicate with each other through the speech, right? So the technology that we are going to do it here, discuss today, is about that. So it's all about that. And then the three mindfulness techniques tips which I gave last time also very very nicely entwine and meet in this particular uh, action of speech that we'll be discussing today. So let's begin the talk to see if there's some more. I wanted this to be a more of interactive session, but it doesn't matter. And until I find a new platform where and I have more volunteers to upload this issue, and uh, to start a movement like this is it's not easy at all. And the first month I'm really happy again. I just want to thank everybody, all the viewers, and all the subscribers to this channel, and all my friends and family, as well as all the people who are enjoying this uh, channel and giving good feedback. Again, let's start off with the uh, current topic today. Yeah, the format that we usually use is we talk about the last week's topic, uh, and see if you have any questions. So I think if you have any questions, I think some of you have joined here. So please type in your any things that you have to say about the last week's things. Otherwise, we can continue. And then I give the goals again. I've specified five goals for NAM, for the Nasadiya Advaita Movement. Is the mindfulness tips are very helpful. I was told by a lot of people, a lot of feedback which I got. Uh, that's really good. Thank you, and hopefully it's helping you all. Um, so it's the culmination. Today's session is a culmination of all these three tips which I gave. The three tips last time which I gave were the breathing. The first one was breathing, which we all do, but not really, the way uh, the body needs. Uh, it's very if you look at how many times you breathe in a day, you will yourself realize that some people are doing good. I'm not saying everybody does that, right? But some are really not getting the maximum air, because air is the prana, that is the life force which all the cells within you need. And the universe that you see outside with all the different stars, billions and trillions of stars, is reflected within you as the different cells, and they need the oxygen. And so breathing, the main first mindfulness tip, is very important. So if you can choose that with respect to anything, any action that you're doing, which is good. But today's topic is going to be particularly based on the action of speech. So let's see how that connects later on. The second mindfulness tip which I gave was on the gratitude, right? So for any action that you do, unless you feel the gratitude and be happy around you, you will not be able to do the action completely to the maximum possible way that needs to be done, all the effort that needs to be put in there. So the gratitude towards the company, the gratitude towards your effort, the gratitude towards your family and everybody else, right? It counts in that. Then the last thing comes to you, but sometimes it's all reversed. People do it just for themselves and selfishly, and then they try to find happiness, and that's not possible uh, unless you have a higher purpose. And that's what I'll be talking today. The fourth mindfulness tip, uh, that is action. The action itself, I'm talking. So unless you have a higher purpose for doing that action, to get a happiness out of that action is very difficult. Uh, so let's talk about the third mindfulness tip which I gave last time. It was the viveka. That's a discrimination between the right and wrong action, right? So that's very important to choose the right action to do. There are prohibited actions. So I did upload some videos on Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, chapter 4, and chapter 7, which I'll be using here. And so they are particularly useful in this talk, this discussion that we're going to have today. So let's talk about the anything you have here. I think some people have joined here, so in case you have any questions, please feel free to text me on this chat. and we can make it interactive. Otherwise, we can continue. Hello. All right, that's fine. So let's talk about the technological, the third goal of NAM. That's the spiritual and technological intersection, right? That's important here. So the one which we have going to discuss today is the technical innovation of a doctor in Bangalore, and he really impressed me. I came across him like a couple of years back. Somebody had forwarded a video, and actually there was a program on I think the Sony TV also about that thing, and I did see that too. But recently, just few days back, like actually a week back or so, I again connected with Dr. Vishal, and then let me read out his LinkedIn profile, and he's no less than or Elon Musk here, and I'll just talk about that in a few minutes to see why he's just opening up his profile and let you know how he's there. So he's the Dean of Oncology. He's the head of oncology in HCG Cancer Center in Bangalore. He's a TEDx speaker. He is in the consultative group of is a member of consultative group of the personal assistant to the Prime Minister of India, of Government of India, and he's a member of Vision of Group of Biotechnology. GOK. And then let me talk about his. Oops. See how it's. Yeah, there you go. So he's a professor, Dr. Vishal Rao, and he's MS FRCS Glasgow and FACS USA, fellow of Royal Society of Medicine, and is presently the country director, head and neck surgery, oncology, and robotic surgery, and the dean of Center of Academic Research at Healthcare Global Center in Bangalore. He's a TEDx speaker, as I said, and he's the inventor of a device called Home Voice Prosthesis. That's what we're talking about. It's a low-cost uh, speaking device for throat cancer patients, an innovation that has been considered among the 100 global social innovations across the globe. And he received wide recognition from BBC, Harvard Business Review, and Forbes. He has more than 18 patents filed for his innovations on medical devices, drugs, techniques, and theories. He is a member of consultative group of Principal Scientific Advisor to the Government of India. He is also a member of the Vision Group for Biotechnology, Government of Karnataka. He has been conferred the honorary FRCS by the Royal College of Surgeons, Glasgow, recognizing his contributions. He is the recipient of the Judy Wilkenfield Award for Global Excellence in Tobacco Control in 2017. He has been recipient of several awards in Bangalore, and as well as the Science and Technology for his contribution in science and technology. He is a Rotary Vocational Training Award for inventing the voice processes for his throat cancer patient. He is presently the editor of Journal of Precision Oncology and has more than 100 national and international publications to his credit, and is a reviewer of 10 international journals. He is an international advisor to the World Health Organization, Tobacco Free Initiatives, Bloomberg Partners in collaboration with state and union government to implement the WHO framework. And he has been a visiting faculty to Johns Hopkins University, and he's also been member of the I think the Pittsburgh visiting scholar also. He serves as the chair of ethics committee of biotech with Government of Karnataka and Department of IT and BD. And then he's really now he's really well known world over. He's a good surgeon, and he is the his training was at prestigious Tata Memorial Hospital. So so let me just start off with this person, this doctor, who really impressed me with his device. It's a low-cost device, and he compares very well with Elon Musk. And I tell you why. Uh, so I noted some points which I'm going to compare with this guy, Elon Musk, because both of them are really, they impress me. Elon Musk too. Some of them, don't like him, but I do like him a lot. He thinks out of the box, And the first, in fact, the first or the yeah, the first device that I talked here on this forum was on his company Neuralink. He's developed a brain link between uh, the brain and the human computer interface. So that was our uh, guy who's let me just share this with you. So he's Elon Musk, right? So the similarities that you see between here and why those two are okay. So both of them have not have given their patents out free. So they didn't want to copyright their invention, right? They wanted to do the electric car in terms of the Tesla that Elon Musk has done, as well as Dr. Vishal Rao, who has done his invention of own processes. They have given it away for free. Earlier, the voice processes used to cost like almost like more than $1,000 abroad, and then many poor patients in India could not afford it. And he worked hard with a team of doctors and engineers and whatnot. And it's kind of a big team of people, and they were involved in creating this thing, right? So actually, let me see. So he worked with another co-founder called named Shashank, and a team effort with the talent, and it was not charged at all. So the talent and they wanted the social change. Energy that was put in was humongous, right? There were physicists, there were material scientists, material engineers, manufacturers, whatnot. I mean, they got it out with a very, very nice, efficient, very cheap device, which is for less than $1. And millions of throat cancer patients are using this. It was a social movement, just like the engineering, technical electric cars that Elon Musk is doing. So they gave out the patents to competitors. They didn't want any money out of this. So the money is not going to give you happiness, right? That's one of the talks that will be coming up later. But that's one of the things which when comparing Elon Musk with our Dr. Vishal Rao. And the other part is important: is speech, Twitter. So look at how Elon Musk got the Twitter, right? He didn't want the Twitter to be the way that it was being manipulated. So I don't know how he's going to make it happen, but he is on the he's working on it. So I'm sure he'll find a way to that. So I mean, this is my own personal view, and it could be different from yours. So even Dr. Vishal Rao thinks that speech is not a privilege; it's a right. So see the similarities between Elon Musk and Dr. Vishal Rao. So both were interested in social impact. He wanted to do a change in the environment, and Dr. Vishal Rao was interested in in helping these throat cancer patients who were not able to talk at all for lack of money. So getting for less than $1 is like 1,000 times cheaper than any available device, and that's been in market since almost more than I think 5-10 years now, and I'm not sure, but it's been a lot of millions and millions of people have benefited from this. So it's a social movement, social impact. So yeah, so this is what it is. Happiness is never about money, right? So you cannot compare the money, which I'm not sure how happy uh, Elon Musk is and how happy Dr. Vishal is, but no, I don't want to go there unless I meet them personally, and hope to do sometime for sure. So happiness is never about money, but still people go behind it madly, right? Why? So this is one of the talks that you'll understand pretty much with the three mindfulness techniques, and the fourth one we'll be talking today. So the desires, control, and ego and stuff. So I've chosen a couple of verses for spirituality on ego, part two. So let's talk about the Om process itself now. So it was such a good invention that it uses a physical law of the if a sound is obstructed, it produces sound. So I mean, sorry, if air is obstructed, it produces sound. So for a layman, we think that our throat is what is making the speech or the sound possible, right? It's not. Actually, it's your brain that's making it possible. So let's see how the brain does it. Okay. Uh, so we do not speak through our throat, but through our brains. Uh, when you say what I'm talking right now, right? It's going to go into the brain. It's going to modulate the speech, and then it's going to coordinate the speech uh, with whatever thoughts you have, and then it's going to create the sounds together, and it's going to instruct the voice box which we have here, which for the throat cancer patients it will be removed, and there'll be a hole here, actually here somewhere. So for the brain to instruct the voice box, the throat, it needs some of these inputs, right? So it's the brain that is responsible for your speech, not your voice box. So that's what you speak through your brain, not through your throat. So for people who have throat cancer and whose voice box is removed, the OM processes is how they're going to speak now, right? So one of the persons that I'm going to introduce today is Siddhant, and who is actually, he is impressed me immensely too. I mean, he's like talking about a couple of things like, you have to be what is it? Aspire to inspire before you expire. He says that on his talk. Then he comes back with the big thing. So let's talk about it later. So let's go back to the how the brain communicates with the voice box in a normal person and produces the speech that we are talking, that I'm talking about, right? So it creates the sound together that it instructs the voice box in the throat to vibrate in a particular way so that the sound is generated. So this is how the mechanism of the voice that we're talking on is generated. So it's very interesting how works, but for normal people, they just think that it's just your throat box, which, the voice box which generates the voice and stuff, but it's not. It's your brain. So the first question which you had here, that is the consciousness. It plays a very very important role. The thoughts that you have within your mind when you're talking. So imagine all the nonsense talks we hear about people talking bad about other selves, other things, and also, with with the four mindfulness tips which you take away from this session today, you'll understand what actually takes goes through a person who had a throat cancer and whose voice box is removed completely. So let's see how this invention does now. Okay, so he came up with a very good idea to make the foot pipe vibrate. So instead of the voice box, he connected his own processes, one end of it to the foot pipe, the other end where the voice box was there, and then uh, so it cheats the brain to think that the voice box is there, and then it tells you to vibrate, but it's not actually the voice box vibrate. It makes the foot pipe vibrate, and they're able to talk. So the way that I do is, suppose you want to see how the sound is produced. Right? If you say, like, you hear the sound now, if you stop the airflow, if you obstruct the airflow, then the sound is produced. So they are making the air go through your lungs into your foot pipe and making the foot pipe vibrate to produce sound. Wow, what an invention! Congratulations to Dr. Vishal Rao and his team. It's like really, really interesting how they've got it. And then the best part of it is under $1, and they have not compromised on the efficiency of this, the quality of this. So it's world class devices which people are getting, and people who have not been able to talk for more than 10 years. Look at the gratitude. The second point of the mindfulness technique that we guys do, which you talked about last time, and we discussed. So the first part of the breathing. So in this, the breathing is done to use to produce sound. So for that particular person to able to talk, he's using breathing. So the first, and for normal people to use the breathing is like they just don't even give attention to that. So look at how deep and impactful these mindfulness techniques are for a throat cancer patient. And so the second part was gratitude. Look at the gratitude that the person will have. He's not able to talk for like 10 years. So unless that person is able to speak again and communicate with the world, what a gratitude he would be having to Dr. Vishal Rao. And then I'm sure the happiest person would be Dr. Vishal Rao when compared to Dr. Elon Musk. But I might be wrong. I need to talk with both of them together. sometimes and see if I can figure out who is the happiest person here. But let's see. Uh, so the third part is Viveka, discrimination. See how this discrimination going to happen. So the thought process which Elon Musk is doing in his brain link to make the uh, Parkinson's thing to stop and be able to use, right? The same Dr. Vishal is using here to make the thought process go into action of speech, that is to produce just the sound for that person to speak. So imagine with what effort the person who is having a throat cancer and whose voice box is removed is talking. So look at all the three mindfulness techniques again. The first part is the breathing, the gratitude, and the viveka, discrimination between the right and wrong. So the action of speech. So whatever he's speaking that, like, doesn't have to. He can't use the wrong grammar. He can't use any wrong actions in speaking. So look at how concentrated that voice would be coming out from. And that voice I heard from Siddhant in his talk at I shared that video. It was, he really impressed me. I hope to talk to him again also sometime. But and I will be definitely putting out the video here in my channel. But let's talk about him later. It will be coming up the next few minutes. So let's see if you have any questions here. I think a lot more people have joined here. But unless you have any questions, we can continue. Yeah, feel free to text me on this, or just send out thing on this, so can continue to see how it's going. So I get some feedback on this. So okay, so let's continue. Unless you have any questions, so all right, that's fine. So that person is now using the three mindfulness techniques which we shared in our platform here: breathing, gratitude, and discrimination, and is able to put in the right speech out for people to be able to communicate, right? And he's using through the Om processes. So that's how the action which we're talking today, it entwines properly to the action of speech. So last one of the videos I took different example of a person who's not having insurance and all, but this time I'll be using this action of speech as an example in explaining all the three mindfulness techniques. I think already done for those first two. The third one is going to be the distinction between the right and wrong, as well as the action itself. So let's talk more on this. How this is done. I think hopefully you understood how this Om process is working. So it's just a basic physical principle that if you obstruct air, the sound is produced, and air is diverted to the foot pipe, and the foot pipe is made to vibrate in particular way to produce that sound. And the person stops and talks, putting a finger on the hole of his throat, and he does that. So it's amazing how this is actually uh, done. So it's interesting, Um, yeah. So let's talk about. Let me see if I have covered everything here in this particular. So with the help of the brain and the own processes, that person is able to talk, and this device is available and is being applauded as the top 100 inventions on the globe. Wow. All right, let's talk about the action itself now. Speech is necessary. It's kind of it's the dignity of a person for justice, right? It's important how it's a right to peace. A person has, he has to talk about the peace and uh, uh, unless it is communicating, it's not possible, right? It's important how these things work. So let's talk about the three verses which, particularly to the action of speech. So I'm going to pick up the version of uh, Bhagavad Gita on chapter 4, which I uploaded in the um, channel, and it goes like this, right? It's let me open up that page here, and I'm going to be talking particularly in reference to the spirituality of the invention here, and just to see the action of how it is. All right. So, so there is inaction and action, inaction, right? So action and inaction. So even men of intelligence are puzzled over the question. Where, therefore, I shall expound to you the truth about action, knowing which you will be freed from its evil effect, binding nature. The truth about action must be known, and the truth about inaction also must be known. Even so, the truth about prohibited action must be known, for mysterious are the ways of action. This is how the verse 17 of Bhagavad says about the action part. And here, in reference to our example today, look at how the inaction is. Like, that the person who is benefited and who is able to make the speech happen is his brain for the person, right? It's the consciousness in his body, which is all pervading in the universe that we talked about. And now the verse 18 says, "He who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is wise among men. He's a yogi and who has performed all actions." So look at how the it's a very good example to explain that particular verse about inaction in action. So the gratitude that person has towards Dr. Vishal and towards God and towards spirituality is immense. It's I've seen many patients express themselves on the channel here, and I've definitely empathized with them and to see how they would be, because they wanted to meet him, the one who has developed this device for them. They were not able to talk for like so many years, like 10 years, 15 years, until this device came through, because they were very, very poor and they could not afford it. So to make this and to get this and to be able to talk for the first time in 10 years is a big difference. So they would be really appreciative of Dr. Vishal, and they would be treating him next to God, I'm sure. And for a doctor, especially to be appreciated this way by his patients, is the biggest gift that anybody can give. So it's any doctors who are listening and who would definitely agree with me on this particular thing. If not, please let me know. So this is where the inaction is. So Dr. Vishal Rao will not be there when they are using the voice processes every time, but he will be there in their hearts every time that person who is using the own voice processes talking. So in the similar way, because of that invention, that person will always be grateful to that thing. So it's a faith in religion, it's a faith in yourself, it's a faith in a doctor, it's a faith in somebody that has made that experience possible, is what the inaction of that person would be during the stages of that person using that device. I hope you got it. So that's the inaction of the person as the inaction in action and the action in action. That part of the thing which I was talking. So that person, according to Bhagavad Gita, verse 18, uh, in chapter 4, says that he who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is wise among men. He's a yogi who has performed all actions. All right, let's go now to the chapter 3, where also it talks about action. So interestingly, you know, that's a different one, which is talking about. Uh, Let me open up that. So verse 7 in Bhagavad Gita, I'm not sure they have uploaded that, but it's very interesting how this, because the organ of senses which you're talking here is very interesting how this, the voice box is not there for that person. So verse 7 says in chapter 3, so let me talk about that. Where it go? Chapter 3, verse 7. Yes, twinan, yes, twin dindriyani manasa niyamya ramaterjuna karmendriya karma yogam asatassa vishishyate. So what it means, on the other hand, he who controlling the organs of sense and action by the power of his will and remaining unattached undertakes the yoga of action through those organs, Arjuna, he excels. So in this case, the person who is using the voice box, he excels in his talk, his actions, action of speech, than normal people. This is what verse 7 is talking about. Verse 8, which I think I uploaded no, on the channel, was you perform your allotted duty, and because action is superior to inaction. So dealing, resisting from action, even a person cannot maintain his body. So the verse 9 says, man is bound by his own action except when it is performed for the sake of sacrifice. Therefore, Arjuna, do you efficiently perform your duty, free from attachment for the sake of sacrifice alone. So, well, I think these first few verses are really good here. So, we still have some time on this, and I would like to talk on this particular uh, verses of chapter 3. Maybe I'll add up as a an addition to this because it works really good. And this, and maybe I'll have another session on this. But let's continue on with the part which I wanted to talk about. So the speech itself is of four parts, right? Uh, you can gain friends with speech. There are a lot of books on that. Uh, by talking, really good, and then people would like to hear. So, in particularly this issue here, which we're talking, kind of highlights that uh, point. So let's talk about the other part here. Um, yeah, I think there's one more thing which I wanted to talk about was this version. I think I uploaded one more verse, two verses from chapter 7, 4 and 5. So let's talk on that quickly, and then we'll continue on with the next topic here. Chapter 7, verse 4 and 5 talk about um, earth, water, fire, air, ether, mind, reason, and also ego. They constitute the material nature of me. So that's Lord Krishna was talking about, the lower part of his material nature. And I wanted to stress on this particular aspect here. The mind, the intellect, as well as the ego is considered by Lord Krishna as the lower part of his material nature. And the higher part, the spiritual nature, in the form of jiva, that's the life principle, is what he's talking on the verse 5. So let's quickly go back to your example of this, uh, the example of this person, Siddhant, who's talking about the voice box. And just imagine the ego of a normal person with the voice box who is not even aware of that when he's talking ill of others, when he's talking, something which are not appropriate. And look at the person who has to make that effort in the action of speech. Just compare those mindfulness techniques, and it's very easy to see who will excel at that point of time. A person with gratitude, a person with who does the first tip also, the breathing. So it calms you down. So unless that person is goes through all these steps. Suppose a person is going into a meeting. As an engineer, I've done a lot of stuff here, and in my case, I've also done this data analysis of our things again. So that's how I could know that the viewers are liking my videos. So again, um, suppose you're going into a meeting, an engineer is going to a meeting, right? A big meeting, uh, where he's going to be presenting his things, and he's going to get a lot of criticism. And he actually, suppose he gets upset with those things, right? And he's and he's not calm. Uh, he's very disturbed, and so the first part of the thing, which even a lot of the managers who I used to work with, they used to say that yeah, you have to breathe properly. But then the second part, they didn't know that. So I did mention about that. So when you take the breath in, when you're breathing in the air, you have to breathe out slowly. I mean, a normal person would breathe it out very fast. If he's very agitated, he would not be able to keep the air inside. So that's a sign of not being calm. So, like for example, you are running, right? You'll be like panting for air. So you'll be taking in a lot of air, but and giving out, it'll be like very fast. So the first technique would really help you there in going into meetings. So that's one of the things which I wanted to tell here. So that will calm his things down. And then the gratitude for being able to present to so many people. Criticism is one where that person should take to understand and improve himself, and that's where the ego comes in, and that's where the chapter 7 verse 5 and verse 4, we're talking about ego, is the lower part of his nature. Unless you face criticism, unless you face adversity, it's very hard for a person to improve from his normal thought process. So that's which I wanted to talk about. Let's go now to the other things. Unless you have any more questions here, I think some people have joined here. So unless you have any questions, we can continue. Otherwise, let's see. Let me just check if I have got everything. All right. So let's talk about the the first two mindfulness techniques which are being used very very widely in the waking state. Like for example, the first part, right, is the breathing. That's being used in a lot of yoga meditations and things. The stretching and breathing and stuff. There are a lot of meditation practices which are being used to calm down. It's being used in technology. It is being used in spirituality and sort of stuff. So it is very very common. The second part of the speech, which not many people are aware of, is the thought. That's the one which Elon Musk is using in his company, and there are other company which also does that. So the thought process is how the new technology is going to work, and it's going to create more opportunities, more career developments, which I talked in session one of this, you know, the seminar. Sorry, the Nasadiya Advaita Movement webinar that we talked about last time. And so this is the which we want to talk about. So the first two are being used very widely. The There are four types of speech actually. One is uh, the uh, the way that we talk to each other, and the second one is the thought. So even that thought process. So suppose I'll give an example of that. Suppose you're playing football. Actually, it's called soccer in US, as well as it's football in other parts of the world. So two people are trying to make a goal, right? They know they go near the opponent's side, and one person passes the ball to the other. It's through that particular speech that he's passing it out. So it's used in but thought it's already being used currently. Elon Musk in his company Neuralink. This example which I gave, where the ball is being passed to the other person to make a goal, uh, and the other part would be like the hypnosis, hypnotherapists, and all. There are a lot of people. And the other part which I want to talk about was the terror organizations, the social media companies. They are using it in the wrong sense, and I'm totally against it. And even the Nam Advaita Movement fifth goal is about that. there are two feeds again which are coming to people, and that is instigating the people to do wrong actions, and that has to stop. There's a company called socialdilemma.com. Please look it up. I think a lot of you must be aware of that already, which I'm talking here. And the other part is the terror organizations, right? They are into this. It's so sad that people, vested interests, are using this to brainwash youth, brainwash people in the name of religion, and create attacks and on normal human beings. An action of killing is the worst prohibited action that I'm sure all the religions would would not be. They would say it's a truth, right? I mean, it's not good to do any kind of those actions here at all. So, for world peace, for human, to find the awareness of peace and happiness within you, doing the right action is very important. So let me quickly talk about the. I think we have some more time here to continue. So another 5 minutes or so. If you have any questions, we can talk or we can just continue further. So I'm going to talk quickly about Siddhant. So Siddhant was one of the person who got the voice processes from Dr. Vishal, and I'm going to share the TEDx talk with Siddhant and Dr. Vishal in the channel. And so he comes up on the stage, and then Dr. Vishal introduces him to the audience and says, Siddhant is a person who was on his deathbed and whose ventilator was supposed to be taken out the next day, and he decides to use some crude method, and this is actually uh, when Siddhant wants to meet Dr. Vishal as his last wish before he dies the next day. And Dr. Vishal goes to the hospital, and then he meets him, and he does the prayers, and then it seems he is talking to his the nurses there to see if they can use some different method to stop the blood flow in his lungs. So, and it seems the next day it just happens, it just works, and then that crude method succeeds, and he's alive, and he comes on the stage after 10 years, and then he's talking about this particular device, and he's saying you have to aspire to inspire before you expire. And he wrote that last chapter of that book that night when he was supposed to die the next day. So imagine the the kind of emotional uh, uh, things that must have gone through Siddhant at that time. I really wish I could talk to him, and hopefully, if possible, I'll also share a video with him on this channel and his book that he wrote. When I get in touch with those guys. Um, all right, let's talk about the other part here, which I don't think we have more time here. I'm going to touch base on that in the next uh, coming sessions. The second part of the TEDx talk, which Dr. Vishal talked, and that was about the power of negative experiences, and that actually is in my opinion, and the new research that's being done on that is half-cooked knowledge of the doctrine of karma. So there's one more thing which I want to talk here. There's a lot of research and developments and technological developments happening based on Vedic literature and Sanskrit Vedas and Upanishads, which were available at the time of creation. And some people are admitting to the source of that particular information which they're getting from, but not many are. And in fact, NAM's goal is not to to embarrass any of the scientific communities, but in case it does happen, no, it's not my issue here. So let's talk about the third. aspect of it. The doctrine of karma is really complicated, and there are a lot of people who think that just their fate and their negative thoughts, and then that research is being done also, gets back, make sure that they have positive thoughts again after that. And unless the person is really understand the doctrine of karma in Hinduism, which many people misunderstand, it's not to be used, is what I would say. I would be definitely covering up that in my next coming sessions. So the last part which I want to talk about was the healing part of the cancer that Dr. Vishal talked in that video too, that TEDx talk to. So he said, instead of fighting the cancer, make it heal yourself. Heal yourself with that. Don't fight it. And there are some people who have survived and who have never reached that uh, the last day of their life, because he gave an example of a child growing in a uterus. You do not think that it's a tumor. You shower all the love and affection on that, and let the child grow. On all the 9 months, the child is in a mom's tummy, right? So that's the example he gave there, and it was very interesting, very good concept there. And it does, unless you have that faith in the religion of faith in an higher being, it's very difficult to get to that first healing part, which Dr. Vishal was talking there. And let me end up this session today with again Siddhant's thing. So he says, aspire to inspire before you expire, and find the purpose in your life to do your actions. It's very important that you need to figure out exactly what your purpose is, uh, which will make you happy. The higher the purpose is, the higher the goal is in doing any action, the more happiness you're going to get. Uh, it's pretty much a known fact in the Vedas and Upanishads, where if you do it as a sacrifice, if you do your action as a sacrifice to the Lord or the universe, then uh, the effects of action, that is the happiness or you know uh, the sadness that you get with that, is not going to affect you. Not the prohibited actions, like killing a person. So that has to stop. That is not an action which is uh, which is said to be done by any religion. I don't think any religion does that. And so, people who are listening to this, please become aware of your religion, whatever it is, because Nasadiya Advaita Movement is a non-aligned movement of all people from all religions, and we will be discussing and talking about only the scriptures, only the knowledge that was given to mankind at the time of creation. So. Let's check it out, the other parts of the speech in the next session. So the other parts of the speech, like there are four types of speech I was talking about, right? So there's meditation, the silence. You can communicate through silence too, and then you can communicate through reverberations of the universe. That's how the Vedas and Upanishads were received by the rishis, by the mankind. That is the third part. And it's that's how the speech is communicated, and that's how the Vedas and Upanishads, which are called the Shrutis, were communicated to the mankind. um, the rishis saw and heard the sound. So the speech, the sound that we talked about today, imagine the universe reverberating in that tone, that sound, and to communicate the knowledge uh, which the mankind has received, is tremendous, and it's still valid. It still works. It's still being used in technology currently. As I said, we first talk about the first two parts of the speech, and the last two, we just touched on it briefly now. Uh, yeah, so the speech is very important. So please make sure that the action of speech, the right action is taken, the right words are used, the right pronunciation is being done, the right effect will be there, and the more happier you'll get with using the right kind of action during the speech. Uh, I think if you have any more questions, we can continue. Otherwise, we have reached almost the end of the time here. We can close our session today. But let me end up the session today with the prayers, as we usually do. Uh, Let me thank all the viewers again for their input, for their encouragement, and for all the I'm a hardcore engineer, by the way, also. So I did the data analysis on all the data that I received in the last first month of launch. I'm very humbled with your response. I really thank you all to for your all encouragement. Let me just close this session with the prayers. Uh, and then we'll see you next time, the same time, 6:30 to 7:30, with a new technological innovation and how it relates to spirituality. And then again, the five goals which we discussed: youth forum, family forum, and career advancement for the youth, and the mindfulness tip for all the youth and uh, adults and everybody else. And by the way, these mindfulness tips which I gave earlier, they are independent of each other. They are not even, but this today, the topic that we picked up today, they were all used towards the action of speech, and how nicely they have entwined with each other, and how they are being able to use this. So again, thank you for joining. I'm going to end up the session today with prayers, and see you next time, same time, Saturday, 6:30 to 7:30 Pacific Standard Time, and then India at 8 o'clock, 8 to 9 o'clock a.m. on Sunday next week. Until then, Hari Om. Om. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्. ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते, पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते. ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः. Hari Om. Thank you. Thank you for joining.